day of your high school career, the first day you start building toward things like top 10 banquets and graduating classes and stuff like that. And the first day that starts to determine the rest of your life and how that's going to shape out. And my first day of ninth grade started off a little more nervous than I think the average, because I had not done my summer honors English work. So I was pretty nervous about that, and so as the day went on, I was dreading it and taking on time to keep going. And so the bell finally starts, and I'm in there. I'm sitting the seat closest to the door, and everyone's talking about, you know, the books, going over what they had to do. I remember specifically we had to make a map of something. One of the books they read. I don't remember the books. And everyone's showing their maps and all that, and I'm just sitting there, really apprehensive for when I get called on and when I have to show mine. So as I'm sitting there, I probably could think that the rest of the class could hear my heartbeat when when Miss Lucy called on me, and I just had to say I didn't do it. So I was then told to go to the guidance office, which was another curveball for me because I'd never even stepped foot in there. So yeah, I was thrown for a loop twice. I mean, if it was at the high school like it is now, I think that didn't even make it 10 times worse. So at least I had 1 year at the junior high. I had one of those under my belt, so I was comfortable in the school at least, and I knew where everything was. And so I go and I get my schedule changed, and I'm in normal English. And I actually was taking a bath. Got even more nervous when I still had Miss Nussey. I was really worried. I was like, oh, she's going to hate me. I didn't do the summer work. Mrs. Pittman obviously thought I was good enough to be in there, and now I'm slacking. So I was really nervous about that, but I had my schedule changed, and I now had regular English, second period. So it was right after geometry, and it came quick, obviously, the next day. And I was relieved when 2 of my really good friends, Andrew Dodd and Jake Mazak, were in there, because that was 2 more friends that I would have had in honors, so there's a plus, because my only other friend in that class also didn't do a summer work. That's J.J. Moore. So there was positives to being in normal English, and I was really worried because a big part of my schooling is having personal relationships with my teachers. I really find that that's a lot easier to learn, and it helps me a lot when I know that I can talk to my teacher and connect with them on a personal level. So I was really worried that starting my 9th grade year that Miss Nussey her and I wouldn't build a relationship like that. And it was even more frightening because English teachers in the past have always been the ones that I really connected with. All my English teachers I always really, really, really got along with Mr. Shoemaker in 5th grade, and then Mrs. Suki in 6th and 7th, and then Mrs. Pittman in 8th. I loved all of them. And so I'm really worried going in there. And the first few days, you know, uneventful. The first day, I know I don't think I said anything to Miss Nussey, so I was really relieved when the bell rang. I was like, all right, cool. Maybe I won't have to, you know, deal with the stress or the pressure of, oh, you didn't live up to this, you should be in this class, you know. So I remember, you know, going on assessments, papers, you know, tests, I don't know, whatever, to have Miss Nussey weigh us out where we are. And I guess she kind of found that I wasn't the average honors, or the average English student. I probably should be in honors. I mean, I guess, because I got nominated for it. So maybe. But, so I didn't want her to think that that it wasn't something that would be important to me. It's just the summer work was really just not going to come along too well. So when we have school for 8 months, we should at least enjoy our 3, right? But the more the school year went on, the weeks, it didn't take long. I really, really enjoyed Miss Nussey. She was really funny, and I liked the way she taught. And she would, I think she figured out that, you know, I could perform at an honors level, and she would ask me things like, I remember specifically what they were talking about in honors at one point was night, and Ellie Wiesell's use of the words and yet. And she asked me to contemplate that, think that over, what I thought that meant. And I gave her my answer the next day, and we talked about it. And we would talk about the things, you know, that they were doing, and I'd have to give my input sometimes on what they were doing. And in honors, just to, I don't know. I don't know. Just because I guess I should be in there, but I wasn't. So we talk about things that the honors class was doing and stuff. And then, as we still formed that relationship, I got my infamous nickname that stuck with me all through these years, and that's Slacker. So that's what I've been called from then on by Miss Nussey, and some other teachers too. But as much as it's not maybe the most flattering and the most, I don't know, I can't think of the word. I don't want to find it in here. I wrote it, but kind of winging it. So it wasn't the best and the most respectable nickname, or the most, I guess, certainly pointing out of what I expect to be and what I know that I'm capable of doing in school. It stuck, and I love it nonetheless. So, as the school year went on, English class was not the only part that with Miss Nussey that I was able to enjoy. I also worked as an office helper for my study hall when she was in there, and that had its perks too. Not only was I with her another period, which made it better because we would get along really well, but I got treats for that. I remember 2 that I got were pumpkin roll and some Oreo pudding that she made. It was really, really good. So that had its perks too. And as the school year went on, I know that it just, everything with her it went from the worst case scenario, the worst possible start as I could think of, you know, you didn't do your work. That's the one thing you have to do in school, right? Do your work. And I didn't do that, and it started off as where I thought that I was doomed from the start, but she came to be one of the best teachers that I've ever connected with. And I know that I'll never forget that year and how great it was and how much it helped mold me. And I know that no matter what, Miss Nussey will always be there to talk to, even if it's the smallest of exchanges, like hello. I never start with hello, it's always Slacker. But even if it's the smallest of exchange, she is one of the teachers that I still, after 4 years, or the 4th year, that I have kept in contact with throughout. And I'm very glad that she's up at the high school, because I know that if I ever really need it, I can go and I can talk to her. And I know that no matter what, I'll never forget 9th grade year and the ups and downs of it, because there was a lot for me in 9th grade. And I can't say that next to 7th and 9th were my 2 best years, and I know Miss Nussey was a huge part of it, and I know that she'll always be one of the best teachers that I've ever had and one of the best friends as a teacher I've ever had.
Well done.